These are the defending world champions. Liquid have very high expectations. They have watched their fellow countrymen win every single international event over the last 12 months. Liquid is the forever wedding party, never the bride, always the bridesmaid kind of deal. Oh. So for Liquid, they want to be desperately world champions. Let's get underway. Our very first map is going to be on Villa. And unsurprisingly, Thatcher is removed from the equation, as is Valkyrie. The Twitch ban, though, is a bit interesting.
Yeah, so SSG are not shy to target ban specific matchups on specific maps from their opponents. It's something they did yesterday, and it's something they've done historically in the past as well. SSG is a very adaptable, very dynamic team. You can argue that they do have one common factor between them, which is like, they usually play around hot and cold. He plays the Buck, he plays the Ying. That's what like the SSG during NAL was like. But I do think that now that we're on international level, I think SSG are gonna spread their arms and their shoulders much wider than during regular domestic play. The pulse ban coming out at the very end, this is heavily going to impact how that kitchen bomb site will be played out here in Villa, so we need to keep an eye on what teams will do to adapt. Maybe they'll bring an echo of information, or maybe they'll just go crazy on the roam instead. But either way, information will be extremely limited for both of these teams, as we have Liquid heading to that AVG defense in the first round, 6ing onto the mirror from the Goyo, saying no thank you to the 2 shields, but thank you, yes sir, to those 2 mirror windows. Hot and cold, similar fashion, actually going from the Iana that has 2 grenades and a Gon 6 to a Flores that has 4 Retero drones.
Very important that you enunciate that word, because people don't want to hear Intero drones. They have to hear enough of Intero already in the broadcast. The last thing they want, Nick, is you saying my name over and over. As has been the case today, Mira escapes the ban phase unscathed. I like this pulse ban from Team Liquid. It suggests to me that they have done their homework. SSG, back when they had Canadian, and the fact that they still have Rampy, they like running Pulse. Rampy in particular, I remember so many times he'd play Pulse down in the basement of this map, roaming, making calls all the way up to that 2nd floor, and being very vocal with the rest of your team. If anybody follows Rampy on social media, you know how vocal he is. Imagine him now in an actual game. So that's said, we'll see exactly what SSG will do without the Pulse when they move to defense, but there's 6 rounds to get through before then. The very first defense for Team Liquid is going to occur over on AVG, oftentimes the standard first bomb site that teams like to run on Villa.
Yeah, and speaking of players, I think these 2 rosters we have right now are extremely stacked, right? Nesk and Paolo ranked number 2 and number 1 respectively on CCG overall, like across the board. SSG is full of Fultz, Bosco, Hot and Cold, Ramby, and Skies, and the last 3 remaining players of Liquid are called Reset and Ask, the new young gunners, and then of course PSK1, the veteran himself. I actually have a PSK jersey, so that's pretty cool that I got that going for myself. But yeah, both rosters are extremely stacked, and we're starting off on that AVG defense with SSG opting to go for that roam clear, going on master side and kitchen. Paolo and Ramby might have an early engagement on one another. I think both players are somewhat aware of what's going on. Ramby chooses to go for a nade vertically instead, pins it, unpins it, pins it, unpins it. Not sure exactly where to strike, but here we go. Decision has been made. Tosses it. Nothing happens. The floor breaks. That's a start. No one has died just yet.
Nobody even close to them, as the LMG in the hands of Fultz will try to find Nesk, but cannot do that. Paulo's still creeping up. Right now on the pantry stairs, but he hears the sledging happening not too far away. He thinks otherwise of this engagement. Rampy doesn't want to be spotted by the cam, and he'll be droned up the stairs into Astronomy. Swinging away, I'm not exactly sure what his intention was there. He'll just continue to walk around this Mira. There's nobody from Liquid actively holding this. Half of the round gone, and Liquid have very smartly fallen off the trophy and statue, a portion of the map, ceded control of Astronomy, and they're now much closer to this AVG bomb site.
Yeah, this is something that we started to see a lot here during this Invite 2022, is that teams have a soft cap timer where they say, well, we extend out, but when the timer reaches a certain point, usually a minute or a minute and a half, we don't care about staying anymore, because as time goes on, it gets progressively more difficult and more scary to stick around. And if you look top right of your screen, Liquid has annihilated 5 drones from the side of SSG, and they've burned so much time. SSG has now cleared half the map. They're at this top red 90 position, and this is where it gets the most difficult as an attacker. You need to rotate people onto the study balcony and still keep about 3 people on this top red area, otherwise you can't pins.
It's a very aggressive hold from Ask, looking with 30 seconds left at the top of the stairs, but he won't be peeked yet. Rampy knows that somebody's there as he drones it out. out, goes back on to watch the flank. 25 seconds as those 5 seconds have transpired have allowed a toxic canister to get thrown on down. And Rampy will breathe in some of that and follow in the nade. Continuing onwards, look at this confidence. Down goes the first body from Liquid, another will fall, yet another. The only kills coming in from PSK. He's still upright, very low on HP. Playing inside of Study, diffuser getting planted by Skies, so PSK will spray through the wall, but a desperate attempt as a Nitro Cell goes off and it gets Bosco, but not the intended target. So Skies gets the diffuser down, and in the post plant, they try to soften up the remaining members of Liquid. PSK and Rampy on the same HP, Palu and Skies at full. Sitting on that diffuser is Skies. And down below, Palu will go, trying to, at best as he can, get the diffuser from below. Another from PSK, but he's shut down by Rampy. So Palu will need to return to the site. Popping out the mirror windows, Rampy will play safely inside of the safe, waiting on calls. 10 seconds is the magic number, and he spots it. An incredible first round from Rampy, and SSG starts things off with a win.
Absolutely massive round from Rampy. What a big brain genius injury. Tosses a nade off the wall, it bounces to vault door. He runs right through it once it explodes and gets 2 interkills to open up the round for his team. Paolo is roaming around the map right behind SSG. If they weren't quick on the entry, they would have possibly been flanked. The C4 from Paolo down below from lobby made really good sense, but Kid Skies planting was one step ahead. They had not... Well, I'll rephrase there. Kid Skies wasn't planting on the default position behind the bar. He was actually tucked in the hard wall corner next to Study. So the C4, yes, it gets a kill, but it doesn't kill the important player, the guy who's planting. Absolutely massive from Rampy and Skies, just doing phenomenal work. 4K for Rampy, and that is the first round for SSG. And what looked like a very... I would say awkward round. They spent a lot of time, lost a lot of drones, and it looked like they had to make a big play, but then they stepped up and they just did that. Or did just that.
Same thing.
Same.
Trophy Statuary, second bomb site. This was held, as you said, for that soft amount of time, that soft timer, that soft cap. SSG used to do that as a team way back in the day, especially on Oregon. Before Oregon was reworked, SSG would hold meeting with those hatches and then drop back to the bomb site after about the minute to 90-second mark. Liquid doing the exact same thing on that previous round.
Yep.
It doesn't do them any good. Despite it coming down to a 1v1 shootout, SSG walks away with that round victory. This time, quite a considerable amount of effort of off-site presence from Team Liquid. 2 players downstairs, 1 up top, but well off-site. Nesk was hiding by the default plant spot inside of Aviator, just by that vault door. We'll see what trouble they can get up to as SSG does some discovery work. Still heavy roam here from Liquid.
Yeah, SSG doing the same thing again. So whenever the bomb site is on one area, SSG wants to roam clear from the opposite side. So when it was the AVG bomb site, they went master bedroom. Now it's master bedroom bomb site or trophy bomb site. Now they're going Aviator gaming side study office. This is basically a typical roam clear over strat where you want to take the map control. And one of the biggest reasons why this makes the most sense is because they're bringing Bosco on the Nomad. The Nomad only really gets fully effective if you end up taking the map control, then you put down the air jabs, and therefore the enemy cannot retake that ground as easily because of that gadget. So basically getting full efficiency out of each and every single operator, and again the room clear is done very quickly here. 1 minute 45, and they're already at that halfway point of 90 top red. Looking pretty good for SSG.
Bosco asserting his influence with that 1 air jab, still 2 more for him to go. He got blown up by that Nitro Cell while the plant got down from Skies previously, so he could do nothing in the post plant. Very common spots for these Nomads are in the nooks and crannies of the stairs leading up to the bomb site, just in case there is a flank that you don't know about. Sometimes teams will tuck somebody down in the basement, and if you don't have the best drone work, even as thorough as you may be, there are things you might miss. Just ask Team 1 about that. So, more grenades from below, primed and ready. SSG have not been successful in finding any targets this way. Ness gets spotted off-site. He was the one who was roaming. He might have been getting back to the bomb site. Not entirely certain where he perished. But to start things off, it's the LMG in the hands of Fultz. That's a lead in terms of numbers for Spacestation.
Yeah, the next step for SSG right now is to get those mute jammers off the statue to Master Bedroom wall so Skies from inside of Master Bedroom can breach it. There's a shield blocking the jammers line of sight, making it more difficult for SSG. They'll have to burn the ADSs and then burn the shield, and then they can start breaching the wall. But Reset down below on that mute does not have a C4, so Skies should be safe inside of Master Bedroom, even though Hot and Cold is also down below and covering it.
Reset's just looking long longingly into Memorial, and he'll get away. Hot and Cold doesn't see him. Bosco gunned down. 2 guns from Liquid, in fact, finding their marks, and Hot and Cold spotted by PSK. They're being overwhelmed right now as Ass gets in on it as well. Rampy, a nice nade. He's been the saving grace for this team and the standout performer through this one round. Ready again over to the stairs, but he cooks it just a little bit too much. Damage is done, but Rampy knows that he needs to take these engagements. He has no idea where to go. Doesn't have the diffuser. He'll pick it up and be a sitting duck. Both these players from Liquid will rush on up, and that's an easy kill for resets to give the round to Liquid.
Yeah, definitely. Once you're planting on that 0-second mark, there's not a whole lot of things you can do. You could argue that Rampy could have let go of the plant button and saved the KD, but to be completely honest, SSG, former world champions, you stick to the fuse because miracles can happen, and sometimes the enemies let it slip, and if that plant had gotten down, Rampy would have been in a passable position for a clutch. Very important. Good nade kill actually from Rampy early in the round, even though the Astro Stairs grenade wasn't cooked 100%, the first one was. That basically is 1-1 now in rounds.
I do wonder what the information that SSG is sharing amongst each other with those grenades from below is being based off of, because we saw Rampy twice attempt to pick off one of the common spots, neither nade connected. Was it Bosco did the same thing, or Hot and Cold did the same thing down below with the nades in hand, and also was unsuccessful? So not that it's a waste of your gadget, but you only have a finite amount of explosives. With those grenades in hand, either Liquid is playing in unconventional spots, or the information that SSG is relaying to each other based on drones is horrendously out of date. I think you called it fishing in our previous cast, and of course when you're going for nades from below, you are often fishing, hoping that you can hit something from above. There are very common spots when you're playing on AVG. There are very common spots when you're playing on Trophy Statuary. You know where the players sit or deployable shields sit, and sometimes your target might not be a body, it might be a shield, it might be a gadget. In this case, I don't think SSG walked away with anything with those grenades, at least not that we saw. You have to ask yourself why.
Yeah, so something to notice that in the last 3 or 2 months or so, SSG has played Villa 3 times. That's also including the game yesterday against Space, and Liquid has played Villa twice. So both teams have a decent amount of information from VOD studies and whatnot on each other. So maybe those fishing grenades could have been based off assumptions based off that VOD reviewing, or perhaps, as you said, could have been a missed drone or just lack of droning or just guessing or fishing around. We won't know for sure. And that's kind of the name of the game here, is that both Oregon, Chalet, and Villa, these teams will have information on each other, and that's always going to raise the bar a little bit as Foles gets the opening gun to Paolo. He almost dies himself, but those adrenaline surges will keep him nice and healthy as the round progresses.
Last time it was Nesk who hasn't been able to find a single kill. He's still alive, but Paolo also taken down. PSK has been finding the mark the most for his team, but when you think about Team Liquid, it's Paolo and it's Nesk. These are 2 of the best performing players ever in the history of Rainbow Six. When either of them is on the field, you have some serious concerns, and you can never rest easy. Taking Paolo out early on and Nesk out in the last round, even though SSG didn't prevail, that's a sigh of relief for the team.
Absolutely, certainly, and I like that we're split in Hot and Cold right now, because this is a El Clasico buck pick from Hot and Cold himself. This is an operator that SSG loves to play around. Hot and Cold plays the buck and plays the ying, and SSG, they love to abuse the fact that he's so good on these operators, and the verticality on this bombs in particular of AVG can be quite useful if utilized correctly as well. Clearing the main stairs, ADSs, shields, and magnets and whatnot will there be. Trying to progress up the main stairs. This is a difficult position to be in, but SSG doing such good work. The flashbang followed by the nade gets the kill. Now they're walking up with 2 people holding hands in hands, but Rampy finds himself injured on the ground.
Not exactly where you want to be for Rampy. 6-1, now 6-2. He almost saved the round previously, and then the round before, Rampy was the reason for the win. So Spacestation will lose one of their potent forces just alongside Liquid, though Ask being down as the smoke is quite crucial, though he isn't known for lighting up the scoreboard the same way most of his teammates are. An advantage for SSG with the final 45 seconds left to play. Nesk is lurking down below, could come to blows with Hot and Cold. I'm not actually sure how close they are to each other. Sorry, silhouettes leading me astray. Nesk is still above, and he's going to be watching over towards Trophy, which is where Fultz will head on through. Look the wrong way, you're going to end up with the ire of Nesk. He gets droned out and runs seeking some protection over towards 90. There's a hatch from the drop if he wants it, but not a lot of time here for Spacestation. Skies will have to get in and go for the plant. PSK is trapped in between a rock and a hard place, and the rat-a-tat-tat of Foltz's LMG will continue to go on forward. Common spot for Skies. Only thing that can kill him is a toxic canister because there's no nitro cells still up. But, of course, Ask dying early means that's not possible. The timer will continue to run in the background. 35 seconds for Nest to retake. 1 for resets. There's still 3 more bodies to go, but he's traded out. So Nest will be spotted over by Trophy and over by Statuary. Doesn't matter where he is. Foltz started off the round. Foltz ends the round. Liquid do not succeed in the retake, and Spacestation regain the lead.
I feel like we're seeing a little bit of uncharacteristic gameplay or decision making from Liquid. Nesk was playing inside of Boar next to 90, and the second Foltz started shooting back at him, he just lagged it all the way back to 90 and played really passive, basically moving back towards the bomb site. And then, well, SSG, they make their way through the bomb site, and then Nesk has to push back where he just left, only to try and retake in like a 2 versus 3. Nesk didn't want confrontation, he didn't want the fight, and you need to start wondering if Nesk is number 2 across the board, and they need to get these picks. Why isn't Nest the one to take them with confidence? Why are we falling backwards only to go retake a moment later? We need to see Team Liquid start fighting SSG more on these 1v1 gunfights. Otherwise, SSG will just run away with the bomb side.
I like that Nesk is playing offside. I like that he's playing that lurker role, as they call it in Brazil, but he has not been effective through these 3 rounds just yet. And that's okay. Sometimes it takes you a round or 2, maybe even half a matchup before you wake up. We've seen Shaiko in Europe take an entire map to find the scoreboard, to find some type of godly ability that we know that he can do. But then guess what? Maps 2 and 3, that's the beauty of a best of 3. Those become competitive and you can still end up winning even if you sacrifice the very first map. But Palu and Nesk not being top performers on the team is worrisome. Liquid is a very well-rounded roster, but we have to keep our eyes tuned to both Nesk and Palu. If they are unable to win their gunfights, if they are being isolated and hunted down, if the drone and entry play from SSG is strong enough that Nesk and Palu are getting overrun, then Liquid's chances of success plummet.
You know what I love about this lineup from SSG, Parker? Last match we just casted earlier today, we had the matchup that was Team 1 Na'Vi.
Right.
And we had a nuke pick from Neskin on this particular attack, but the pulse was in play. This time around, Team Liquid banned out the pulse. You know what? Foltz goes on to the nuke. But this time on this kitchen bomb site, there's nothing to stop him, right? You only have maybe barbed wire. There's no, well, there's Banshees as well, of course, so Banshees and barbed wire, but there's no actual information to stop Foltz from sneaking around and might get some crazy value.
I feel like we didn't get the best opportunity to see what a Nook can do
No.
for Team 1, so I'm hopeful that we can see it from Foltz. I don't care which team plays the operator. Just
He's across the map. He's all the way at top main. He's going to be flanking in like a minute from now. So meanwhile, SSG are playing these mind games, keeping all of Liquid's attention to one side of the map. Foltz will be flanking them.
Give me the goods. That's all I want, baby. This is a kitchen defense. Don't be fooled by the position of resets. He's guarding upstairs on the triple panel, but that's just because you need to hold that part of the map lest you get overrun. All it takes is a crafty buck or a sledge to get up there, and you are in
Foltz is sitting on the pillar. The default cam doesn't see him. He's waiting for the gadget to recharge and push back up. This is super, super smart.
He's got an Aruni gate they'll have to look through. Down goes Rampy to the telltale signs of an MP5, but he's thwarted by a barricade, and he'll look longingly into the bomb site. I feel like, again, this is a missed opportunity. Now Hot and Cold is down, and Foltz is, I don't want to say botching it, but being slow to the punch has not allowed him to exert any real influence over this bomb site. Resets has taken quite a beating, but Foltz might have to break the Aruni gate or get out-dueled by Nesk. We said that he hadn't been all that effective, and guess what? That's a beautiful shot from Nesk to prove to everybody why he's always a threat, even if he doesn't have any kills.
Nesk is online, baby. Also, Foltz typing NS, nice shot in chat, respecting the fact that he got absolutely dominated, leaving Skies and Bosco both having yet to find a kill, but this might just be the opportunity. Could that be a 2v5 at the very least, statting that KD on the scoreboard? Resets extremely low on health, so it does make it more possible, but the bomb site being out of kitchen and SSG not having progressed the map yet just now, it's going to be a little bit tired to find an opening.
Skies and Bosco just creeping through the bottom of the map. I think Skies, with that diffuser in hand, being so far away from the bomb site, knows that it's an unwinnable round. And whether he can accomplish anything over towards Pantry or not, he might just be buying time for his team to discuss things. We call these the in-game unofficial timeouts. Nice shot from Skies, but he'll try to bait a couple more kills to just pad his stats. Other than that, SSG knew after they lose those first 3 players that the round is almost unwinnable.
Yeah.
It requires a series of unfortunate events for your opponent to commit. Because when you win a clutch, it's not always your own ability. It's often helped by the mistakes of your opponents.
That is typically almost every single clutch, right? Like, sure, I'm sure there are moments where it's just absolute dominance. You are outperforming in every aspect, but I would say majority of the time, a clutch is simply the fact that somebody gave you an opportunity and you took it and succeeded. And that's why, especially in situations like a 1 versus 2 or a 1 versus 3, if you set up the perfect crossfire, it should be impossible for the person that is solo to win that 1 versus 2. But if you don't play the crossfire perfectly and there's going to be gaps, that is exactly when you make the mistake and allow for the gap and possibility of a clutch. Yes, the opponent has to hit his shot, he has to play it well, but that only is enabled by the fact that you messed up in the first place. So, playing it smart and playing it safe when the time needs you to is extremely important, and is often one of the clear tell signs of like a weaker, less experienced team versus veterans is the ability to play those 1v2s the right way.
I feel like of all the matches that we've seen so far at this event, not many teams are committing those mistakes, though. The amount of patience that we see is exemplary. Teams holding angles, exactly. Very disciplined, very patient. Standing next to hard walls, standing next to reinforcements, not giving an inch, knowing that if somebody charges in, even if they beat you, the other 2 players on your team or the other player on your team who might still be alive in that clutch scenario is nowhere near the action. And even like we saw all the way back with Liquid's very first round win on round 2, Liquid played it quite patiently and didn't necessarily give themselves away to Rampy. They forced Rampy to take the engagements. When that was not possible, Rampy went and planted. And either way, the patience and the discipline from Liquid was enough for them not to get greedy, not to get kill hungry, and win the round. Because as much as your own personal stats might be nice, you know what's nice? Winning the 6
Winning is nicer. Yeah. I fully agree. We're seeing SSG now approaching their second attack onto Trophy, and they're doing it differently. They've yet to attack the same way twice, which speaks to SSG's dynamic and deep strategy book. Falls, Rampy, all these players in SSG, they love the grenades, bouncing them off the walls, doing damage onto resets, but not finding a kill just yet.
2 grenades will take away 1/5 of his HP. He's got the shotgun out, and he'll be flashed this time. He's still under drone, by the way. PSK taken out by a nice nade from Rampy, who's just in the middle of the bomb site. Rampy splitting his way on in. All right. They need to try their best to get this diffuser planted. And sorry, it's not the bomb site again. The bomb site is upstairs, but Liquid are holding the downstairs as if it were the bomb site.
Yes.
They have to translate it to Trophy Statuary.
Yeah, there was an extension from Trophy to down below, basically, making it look like an imposter, if you will, right?
Inverse.
Yeah, the inverse. And sometimes if you're really quick about it, you can fake out your opponent as well, because if you all run downstairs and start reinforcing kitchen, and they're droning, like, oh guys, it's the basement's in kitchen, But then you realize, joke's on you, you got faked out, we're up in Trophy Statue.
So those 3 players from Liquid who are down for the count, it's considered a flawless round that we just saw previously, even though Skies didn't die. It was almost considered a flawless round. Skies got 1 kill right at the very end, but here's Nesk. Online, as you spoke of, 2 kills in the previous round, 1 to his name at this moment. And there's a minute to go. So he can accomplish an awful lot more. Explosion of fire not too far off. That's the Goyo shield that's down for the count. And while Nesk will hold down the fort, Paulo is flanking up.
Notice how the second Nesk got the kill, SSG like stood still. They did not want to feed any more people into this gun barrel from Nesk, and Nesk is getting active now. He's playing aggressive like we spoke of earlier, trying to find those 1v1s that he's so good at winning.
SSG have been unable to get the mute jammer off of the wall, so clear passage in the bomb site not granted. Nesk peeks the wrong way, Skies sees him, punishes him for that. Palu, last man standing from Liquid. Watching Astronomy. 3 silhouettes lined up. He'll have to control the recoil, but he can't even do that. He gets smoked by Bosco. And so far, these teams have been unable to win rounds back-to-back. No consecutive round victories. SSG regains the lead again. It's 3-2, and it looks strikingly similar to matchups we've seen before, where these teams will go into the bitter end tied up. This is the final round for Liquid on defense on a map like Villa. Liquid, we're hoping for more, 3 to 4 rounds minimum. They're going to hit 3 at absolute best, but SSG, I would argue, overperforming attack on Villa based on these operator bans, based on the way these teams play. And it could just be that Liquid need to wake up, but they seem like they're waking up. Even if they don't win that round, they have been playing more robust Rainbow Six recently.
Hot and Cold just 6-picked Monty, which is absolutely phenomenal in one way and absolutely confusing in a second way. I mean, I thought SSG's stratbooks went deep, but this is ridiculous almost, and I'm so much here to see it. Speaking of last round, Rambi has been the performer so far. Full second person, Sky did a great job handling the diffuser multiple times, but Rambi getting opening kill after opening kill, and yes, the rounds have gone back and forth, one to SSG, one to Liquid, etc. But out of these first 5 rounds, SSG has 4 of the opening kills. And I think that speaks more to the fact than just the rounds going a certain way. Even though SSG are losing certain rounds, they are still managing to get the opening kill time and time again.
Well, don't be fooled again. Liquid like these off-site extensions. They are reinforcing and working to set up around Trophy Statuary, but it is an Aviator in Games defense. Again, the 3rd attempt from Team Liquid. This is the one bomb site that has eluded them. They won Trophy once. They won Kitchen once. Kitchen is currently locked. Trophy, they just lost. They're not going to go back there again. Instead, they could have gone to Living Room and Library down below, but that's unlikely because Aviator Games is open again. Liquid 0-2 on this bomb site, and they're going to have to deal with a Montaigne now for this 3rd and fateful defense. SSG are aware of the setup that Liquid has off-site. This is very similar to the previous defense of AVG. And Hot and Cold taking up space inside of Astro. He sees the Mira, trying to bait in, but it's Palu instead to bait him. The Monty will not be particularly successful, gains intel, but the first kill going to Liquid, traded swiftly back by an explosive of their own. Fultz enabling the rest of the team with a kill onto resets. That's the Mira down, and they'll have to deal with Nesk next.
Quite well read from Paolo, so SSG's attacked a different way every single time, but these nades are so lethal. Yes, I didn't get the kill, but it forced Nest into the other side of Fultz, who got an absolute freebie because of that.
And it's Nesk, by the way, to falter as well. Palu starting things off, we talk about this terrible twosome, and Palu's got some heavy lifting to be done. Well off site, he'll just ascend the main stairs before thinking otherwise, going down the hallway towards red stairs and up to classical hallway. Asked by 90, look at this destruction work. Part of the hallmark of classic Siege. Bullets whizzing just by his head on that barricade, and he's on the ground yet again. Still steering in the same direction. If he doesn't hit that first shot or 2 of the SMG-11, the recoil will likely sail over his head, and he'll be punished for that, especially since his head is the thing that will first be shown.
I think it's worth noting that while Liquid are in a man disadvantage, they did actually take out the main strategy part of SSG's lineup. That was Hot and Cold on the Monty. He's now on drone duty as that's all he can do. And this basically means that SSG came in with a plan. It involved the Monty, but it's off the board now. So now we're freestyling, trying to clear out the jammer inside of Vault. Good job for them. I hope Skies will breach it next. But then now we're going to have to see one player from SSG rotate to that study balcony. It looks to be Bosco from that outline. Vault wall will be breached as well. This is a great step for SSG, getting aggro on both sides, but they gotta find the kills, and Bosco just does that. That's Paolo off the board again.
Rambi down by the shotgun of Ask, trying to burst into the bomb site, but Fultz is on a tear. 3 kills to his name in this round. PSK knocked Ass over Tea Kettle, and while he's up and frying, Skies is getting the diffuser down. Half HP for PSK. Walking now towards Vault, nobody to be seen. Bullets again over his head, beautiful shot onto Fultz. 3 kills is all Fultz will be able to get. Using the soft destruction, PSK scouts the area. Timer continuing to tick down, 35 seconds for Space Station. PSK regrouping. Maybe some calls from the rest of his teammates, but great patience, as we talked about, discipline from Spacestation, not giving an inch. They've got 20 seconds until things hit the point of no return, so you'll have to get in. And there's the Nomad to do that, try and distract away. PSK's attention is over towards Study, but he gets out-dueled by Bosco, and even if the Montaigne isn't particularly pivotal, SSG's strat seems quite sound. And through that first half, SSG emerges with a 4-2 lead.
As I said, absolutely phenomenal, beautiful 1 versus 2 played from SSG. Even if Bosco had lost that 1 versus 1 gunfight inside of study office, it wouldn't really have mattered. There was about 15 seconds or so left, which basically means that your last remaining player of Skies will basically win out the round guaranteed, or at the very least has an extremely high chance of success. Lycan, the coach of SSG, has really drilled into these guys how to play proper Rainbow Six Siege, and they've been dominating in the NAL in recent history. Maybe not at NAL Finals itself, but during Stage 2 and Stage 3, they were the kings of North America.
Well, I mean, this SSG team does well domestically, but internationally you have to look at what success they have. Hot and Cold was the MVP of the NAL last season, but he hasn't really performed in either Mexico or Sweden. In fact, his stats in both of those events were quite middling. Rampy had oftentimes the best stats on his team and enters the event as the highest international performer over the last year for Spacestation. Similar, by the way, to BDS. BDS beats up all of Europe, but their ceiling seems to be the semifinals of major events. Not that that's anything to turn up your nose at. Every team would love to make it to a semifinal of a major, but with a team like BDS, with the pedigree that they have and the expectations that they have, anything less than a win is often falling short. I know that Spacestation sees themselves that same way, so finally winning a best of 3 internationally. They did it yesterday against FaZe. A lot of people consider that an upset. This is the start that SSG needs to come back into it, especially with how many teams rank Team Liquid as one of the favorites to win all of SI 2022. That said, first half in the books, we're going into the very first round of Team Liquid on attack, SSG on defense, so the ball is in the court of Team Liquid to get the diffuser planted. As for SSG, you just need to ride out these rounds. The clock will be your best friend.
Absolutely, and we see SSG, they have a pretty clear-cut plan. They're holding that 90 red stairs area. Meanwhile, Liquid, of course, doing the same thing as SSG, going for that sweep over roam clear, and they actually brought out the Jackal to try and find some freebies from SSG, but besides Hot and Cold, who's down in the basement, all of SSG are playing pretty tight together. I don't think Paolo's gonna get incredible value out of the gadget so far, and SSG playing a good round of Rainbow Six Siege right now.
Fultz on those red stairs, just sitting and waiting. The barbed wire right in front of him. His aim has been spectacular so far today. Both Rampy and Fultz are the 2 usual main entry points for Spacestation. Hot and Cold can fulfill that role as well. It really depends on the strategy. There's fluidity on Liquid and there's fluidity on SSG when it comes to these roles. Sometimes you might have Nesk anchoring, sometimes you might have him supporting, other times he can be your primary entry. It really depends on the map. The fact that Fultz and Rampy are showing up is enormous, but so is Liquid, by the way, and Ask has been the standout performer for his team. 2 more kills added to his tally. He picks apart Bosco and Fultz. SSG, with half of the round to go, find themselves losing utility and also down 2 players.
Yeah, remember they figured out that Goyo was down below and they read the situation quite well. Paolo gets a freebie. That was a scan that paid off earlier, knowing he was down in the basement. And now with a minute left, it's a 2 versus 5, and SSG are nowhere in a position to really play for picks as they're both deep on side.
Bad start for Hot and Cold. I don't know if he died with a potential C4 in hand. That leaves Rampy and Skies, but just Rampy. Nesk is on a tear. A big kill from him. No staying potential with the smoke gone and a nade tossed in. You didn't even see it. It was from underneath. SSG weren't able to hit these, but Liquid clearly can, and they're making up for lost time. Their very first attacking round goes into the win column for Liquid.
I might have seen it correctly, but I think the last play of SSG was like pulling out an impact grenade at the same second as the grenade blew up, and I thought he somehow managed to impact grenade himself from 100 to 0, but it was in fact a nade from Liquid from down below. Flawless round to open it up. Pretty well done. Resets that double kill opening. Paolo actually was walking around most of that map trying to figure out, is there a guy in the basement? And they managed to find the footsteps of Hot and Cold inside of that shoe room or bike room. It has a couple different callouts, and that basically gave them the confirmation that yes, there is indeed a guy in the basement, and he has to come up one of 3 staircases. Paolo guessed 1 in 3rd chance. He got the right one, and yeah, free kill.
Not that we want you to turn off of this stream, but we do always have to remind people that there is a second stream currently ongoing. Go on over to twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. That's the same URL that you're on right now. Just add BRAVO. That's it. It's that simple.
That's easy.
Just add that. And what will you see? You'll see the Japanese team of Cyclops going up against the European team of Rogue, that mixed European team, by the way. I believe they're predominantly German right now, but still, they play under the European Union flag, or the EU flag, depending on whether you want to shorten it or not. You can watch both of them at the same time. That's Fluke and XR Troika casting on the other stream if you want to go over there and hear their dulcet tones.
Absolutely. If you guys want to, you should watch both at the same time, but I also understand that can be a lot of seats, so pick and choose what matchup you like.
I'm sorry, but this is a better match, so I would encourage you to stay here. I would encourage you to stay here.
You're just saying that because you're here casting it, Parker. That's bias.
That is not bias. I happen to think that this is a more exciting matchup. You've got what many consider to be 2 tournament favorites, providing SSG shows up the way they have before. And this is a barn burner of a matchup. We're only on Villa. There's still 2 more maps to go. Oregon and potentially Chalet await us.
I was going to say the B stream has Cyclops. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true.
Rambi, lurking down below, has backup from Fultz, of course, but keep in mind, they're not that far off the side just yet. They're actually pretty close, but SSG trying to contest the area right now, making sure that Liquid doesn't get too much space for free. It is a kitchen dining bomb, so Apollo once again on this Jackal is going to make the roaming life of SSG a nightmare, as those feet will be sniffed out. Rambi drops down below and says, yep, they figured it out. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm gonna dip.
What can I do to make you never talk about Jackal as a foot sniffer again? I'll do anything.
Anything?
Literally name your price.
I will think of something very lucrative for myself, and then I'll present that to you.
Please let me know. I wanna just do away with that forever. The Pulse ban, by the way, targeting Rampy predominantly on Space Station. He's lurking down below. He's on that Jaeger roll. Not able to have the same information, not able to have the same intel, but if he wants to play in the basement, he can very easily get back using the pantry stairs. Liquid will circle the wagons, getting very close to an engagement. Almost knocking at the door of Kitchen, but a smoke's going to get tossed out and resets. Collapsed upon, finished off by the toxic canister of Hot and Cold. A bit of an unconventional setup with that deployable shield at the bottom of Astro Stairs. Palu is next, and he knows exactly where the smoke is. Ask continuing his reign of terror. Another kill for him, this time on Nabosco. The teams will remain at 4 apiece.
It's a little bit awkward positioning we got right now. Remember, Hot and Cold doesn't have just the SMG-11. He actually has the FMG because Fultz is running out that shotgun. 1C4 in the pocket of Fultz as well means that vertical damage can be done. And right now, all the players are upstairs except for Palu, who's inside of jungle, who could strike at any moment. But SSG are holding all the entry points for the bomb site, ensuring that nobody creeps in without being noticed.
Close range for Space Station, 20 seconds left to go into the round, that's it. Jiggle peeking through the door, Ask is in the middle of the bomb site, picked apart by Skies, hugging this bomb chassis. Alda in hand means he's got tons of munition for Nesk. Nesk is next, by the way, as Palu trades off. The shotgun from Fultz as he retakes the site. Nesk ever so formidable, but 2 more to go in 3 seconds. Seems unthinkable unless they give themselves away. No. The defending major champions of FaZe Clan. Up next, no matter what happens here on Villa, whether Space Station walks away up 1-0 or Team Liquid gets the upper hand. Oregon, picked by Team Liquid. Played yesterday, by the way, against Rogue. Team Liquid prevailed 7-4. We'd like to remind you that Rogue is in action against Cyclops on the other stream occurring right now, twitch.tv/Rainbow6, if you'd like to go over there and watch it, or run both of them at the same time.
You just said twitch.tv/Rainbow6. You did not say Bravo.
Rainbow Six Bravo.
There it is. Rainbow Six Bravo. There is the
Maybe, did you ever
BRAVO
consider
part.
you that I maybe said that where they'll go, okay, twitch.tv/Rainbow6, okay, as we
Put it in.
close this, go up top, twitch.tv/Rainbow6, and guess where it brings you?
It's like they're back here.
Right back here to me. So, haha, I fooled you, but no, it's just...
Duplicating viewership, that's what Parker's doing right now. Making 1 viewer into 2 essentially for a short moment as that webpage loads through. Now, Liquid, Nesk, 6-pick the Amaro. So I do think that Timeout had a specific target in mind. That is the strategical approach to the round, but I think joke's on you, Liquid, because SSG has brought this to living room library bomb site. I don't think that's what the Amaro was meant for. I don't think that was the intended target purpose, but either way, we got it, and at the worst case, Nesk gets on a great gun in that G8.
I feel like we've tried to see Amaru at this level, and it just doesn't work out. If somebody is going to be able to make it happen, it's Nesk. So, what do you accomplish? The telltale signs of the G8. It's a very distinct sound is made. If SSG have keen ears, if this wasn't a 6-pick, then they know that there is an Amaru coming. Unless they just think there's an IQ on the board, which would be very odd.
Very unlikely. We don't even see IQ open, even when Valkyrie's on the board, and we certainly won't see it with Valkyrie banned off. Also, with the post-being gun, that leaves only really Echo for IQ to chase, and yeah, it's just not worth it.
I wonder if this site selection will hinder them at all. I don't know if they're expecting us to be downstairs on this bomb site, but hey, I mean, you got to go for it at some point, right?
Yeah.
Very easy to just go back to AVG or even to Trophy Statuary, but no, a living room library setup is the NA special that Liquid might not be expecting.
Yeah, and it's something that we don't see very often, and of course at this level of play and with these teams in particular, they're aware of how to attack every single bomb site, but that doesn't mean you're equally good at attacking every single bomb site. There are some you're gonna be proficient at, some that you're not, and here Nesk is trying to see what can make work. G8 goes true, headshot onto hot and cold, opening frag for Team Liquid, and a second one.
I'm sorry, Fultz was expecting a push from Study, but Nesk's position was known in the engagement against hot and cold, so it seems like the call was not made, or Fultz was expecting the swing first, because all he needed to do was pivot and look towards the top of Classical, and he's got a potential pick onto Nesk. Nesk's sitting right now at about 1/3 of his HP. That's not ideal, but Skies grabs Palu, and he's retaken the position that Liquid thought they'd cleared out earlier on, just behind Bar. Nesk waiting, still in this spot, trying to play off of pings that the rest of his teammate is giving. Resets is not too far away, down by 90, but Skies is still tricky, hidden behind this bar inside of games. Does he know that Nesk is watching this angle? If he crosses the doorway looking the wrong way, Nesk will capitalize, but there are few people who can out-duel Nesk. Skies tends to be one of them. Rotero drone goes in, flushes out Skies, resets, capitalizes on the kill. Liquid up in a 3v2 with 30 seconds left to play in this round. Rampy equalizes, making it a 2v2, case down. Call going out to Bosco. One Toxic Babe still left, and he's got the shotgun to do maximum damage. The scramble from Liquid is they will head into the bomb site, but they have to grab access to the diffuser, lest they just go for kills. PSK downing Bosco and finishing him off means Rampy in a clutch position. He can put his team right now on match point. He's got the entry, swings away, but Resets is prepared for it. The timeout works. The unconventional for SSG is unsuccessful, and Liquid close the gap by 1 round.
What a round! It starts off with Nesk getting 2 opening kills, and then Skies traded back shortly after, taking down both Paolo and Nesk shortly after. It's a little bit of a shame they had no idea that Skies was nearby them, because Paolo's on the Jackal. He could activate the gadget and see there are still some feet on the ground that I have yet to scan, and therefore there's still somebody nearby. And they didn't, so Skies prevailed. He hid behind the bar, he bid his time, got 1 kill, then waited quite a while, won the gunfight against Nesk, and that kind of showed the time there. Somehow, someway, even with Rampy finding the diffuser as well, Liquid, they still came out on top what looked to be an SSG round.
I mean, there have been a couple rounds here where the unthinkable has happened, and teams will walk away with victories that leave us puzzled. Back to AVG. SSG is going to go now, and if we want to talk about the previous impact they had, or rather defending AVG, SSG is going to go upstairs to Trophy Statuary, but back to defending AVG. This is a bomb site that they lost out on flawlessly to Team Liquid, so I do not suspect they're going to go there anytime soon. Kitchen was the only bomb site that that SSG prevailed on, and it reopens after this round. As we see with all of Villa, you usually want to hold the same 3 spots on the map depending on where you're defending. Whether you want to hold Study, whether you want to hold AVG, whether you want to hold Trophy Statuary if you're playing in Kitchen, or if you want to hold Trophy and Statuary, either way. in this particular instance, it's a 4th bomb site now for SSG. We'll see what they can do with it. They desperately want this match point, but they have to work for it. Liquid seemed to settle in after that timeout and were prepared for Spacestation, despite, like I said, that unconventional bomb site that could have very easily tripped up Liquid.
Yeah, as you see, getting that bingo card all filled out as they approach every single bomb site, and on their attacking side, had 6 different versions of attacks for the various bombs that Liquid presented themselves. So basically, having a different approach each and every round. That is very hard to adapt against if you're Team Liquid. Rambi doing a good job extending out on the map, making sure that everything isn't clear for Liquid, and if he finds any drones, of course, he can take those out as well. Mind you, Bosco is on the mirror, so there will be those mirror windows for Liquid to deal with. They don't have a Thatcher on the board, but of course, they did bring the Hibana.
I like Rampy on this Legion as well. He can take up space down below, up top, leave a trail of poisonous breadcrumbs in his wake, which will allow him to get information and also just be a general annoyance to slow down Team Liquid. If you fear that your opponent are being a little bit too quick to the punch, then bringing operators like Frost, like Capkin, like Legion, like Malusi, those are the ones that you want to bring in because they will do exactly what you ask. Slow them down.
I was really confused about what I just saw there. I thought there was a triple reinforced wall. So when he started wall banging the pillars, I was like, wait, how is he doing that? Like, where's he shooting them from? But it's a double reinforced wall. The 3rd one is soft. That is typically what you do if you slap the mirror window on there. Of course, the wall has not been dealt with.
Oh, no.
Nesk finds Bosco. It's not the smoke off the board. Remember, SSG had a roll swap, but Paolo continues the trend.
Unbelievable play by Liquid, well coordinated, and again, SSG almost seeming like NPCs when Liquid walks on in, taking advantage of them, and okay, you blink and it's gone. This has to prompt a Spacestation timeout, as Liquid have now taken 3 of the last 4 rounds, 2 of them flawlessly. They are in full command, and no, Spacestation are not going to take their timeout. They're going to suffer through this. Team Liquid tied up with just a miraculous performance. What on earth happened to Spacestation in that previous round?
I'm actually surprised, just like you are, that no tactical timer was taken, because I feel like this might be their prime opportunity. In the last 4 rounds, Liquid had the opening kill 3 of those. In the last 4 rounds, Liquid has won 3 of those, and 2 of them flawless, as you mentioned. Yet, we're just gonna go in one more time, back to AVG for SSG. Again, their strat put rungs deep. I'm sure they have many more options to go through before they're going to be exhausting their options, but I still need to question, why not take the time out now before we get onto match point, unless of course you believe the match point goes to you. Either way, this is what it comes down to. SSG needs this round, but so does Liquid so much equally. The same lineup being brought out from Liquid, not much changing. It's the Retero drones on the floor sometimes it's not. Paolo bringing the Jackal each and every single round, and Nesk now on the board with 10 kills, really getting activated on that entry and being extremely lethal as we thought he would be.
Nesk had 3 kills, I believe, in round 5, so since then, boy oh boy, he has put on an absolute clinic, and that's what I said. Even if he has 0 kills, you cannot count out Nesk, not one bit. And he has now seized the lead from his team, tying Rampy's total. Rampy going quiet is a problem, because Bosco and Hot and Cold are not having particularly good matches thus far on their roles. And despite the fact that Bosco in particular is a historically good Villa player, well, a 3-8 scoreline puts him towards the bottom, in fact, the actual bottom of the lobby. He'll be frustrated with the performance that he's putting in. Meanwhile, the story for this half has been the dominance of Liquid. This is an attacker-sided Villa and is certainly shaping up to go in Liquid's favor, despite the fact that SSG took a 4-2 lead on that first half.
Yeah, and I think this might also be the case why Paolo keeps bringing the Jackal here. You can kind of target the quote-unquote star players or key players of SSG and really shut them down. If Rambi is getting spotted or scanned every single round, his life becomes so much harder. But Hot and Cold said, Liquid, your life will be harder for this match point round, as he finds the only hard breach from Liquid, but Nesk is there to trade it back.
But look who it is. Speak of the devil, and the devil shall appear. Nesk finishing off Fultz. Only Rampy stands above him in terms of fragging potential. Getting Ask off the board is actually huge because you've removed the only hard breacher, making your job as an attacking team so much more difficult on a bomb site that really does rely on your ability to poke holes in those reinforcements. Whether you want to apply some pressure to the defenders through that vault wall, whether you want to take some of their map control away towards maps inside of Aviator or in games through that study wall, you can do that. That option for Liquid is no longer there. But if there is a team that can bulldoze their way through, just take raw aggression into their own hands and kill their opponents without a hard breach, it's Team Liquid.
Yeah, and you see the second SSG got that kill, they all fell back to side. I think for Liquid, they would need a nade kill, some verticality, or at the very least... Oh.
What did you say?
I said a nade kill. That's not a kill part, that's an injury. It doesn't count because the kill has not been secured just yet, and Hot and Cold will crawl away and likely be rescued by his teammates.
Good news is that Hot and Cold was at the same HP, by the way, before the nade downed him, but you have to take advantage of the damage that you've done. Another nade primed and ready with the mirror window being spotted. Assuming that somebody's playing off of it, it'll blow up. But at very minimum, they should be able to get the panel, allowing a window into the bomb site. Smoke's going off. It'll obscure the vision of Space Station as Nesk walks in. He's got killing potential, but he's also got that diffuser in hand, and he watches a Nitro cell get chucked over his head. By the model, he'll go for a plant, but Bosco's doing his best. He guns down Palu, trying to take back control of Study. Nesk is exposed in that angle, but he's going to see him, and Nesk just sprints right in and takes him down. 2 kills for Nesk while also getting the diffuser planted. He cannot outduel Hot and Cold as he peeks around the door frame. Hot and Cold stands steady, resolute, inside of the middle of the bomb site. Waiting to see what the smoke can do as resets. He's going to take some damage and breathe in that toxic canister as he backs up. On the diffuser is Hot and Cold. Liquid need to be quick. They don't have the intel that Hot and Cold is on it, and his team buys enough time. The disable comes in, and it's match point for Space Station.
Space Station stole the round, but looked like it was Liquid's. They were all so low on health, all sub 50, below that halfway point, and it looked so good for Liquid for a brief moment. They managed to get through that door, somehow duke the C4, not die to the toxic babes. Skies did have one more babe remaining, and honestly, you can think, Skies, why didn't you use that toxic babe for the planter? Well, I don't think they knew Nesk was that deep into site and actually planting, and after that fact, the toxic babe arguably saved the round and allowed SSG to defuse while covering as well. Oh my. SSG has made it to match point now. Now Liquid has to tie it up to go into OT or lose the first match in regulation. And on this very, very final round, before OT at least, Ask is 6-picking the Dokkaebi. That is the second time that I have seen that operator at the 6 Invitationals. The last time around, it worked quite well. So, what this kind of plays into is, again, the roam clear. We are in this library bomb site from SSG. We got both the Palu on the Jackal, now the Dokkaebi on Ask, so you have so many different ways to pick this apart. And the last time library bomb site was seen, it was won by Team Liquid, which means SSG has yet to win this bomb site, but they want to prove a point that they can do that.
Awaiting us is Oregon. Again, we will get there no matter what. Space Station needed overtime to seal the deal against FaZe Clan. A victory in more certain terms over a team like Liquid means that Space Station will be in better position to say, well, you know, FaZe is a better team. Liquid is a little bit weaker. Well, we'll see. It really depends on how comfortable Liquid is on this map. Liquid have a robust map pool as they are a very experienced team. There's no real weaknesses for teams to exploit in terms of a map ban phase. And of course, these maps are quite spicy, as you said on the walk on over here when we got access to the map bans. We'll see what happens. 30 seconds into this round, Space Station on match point for those of you that don't have a visual reference. And look at where that bomb site is. Isn't it glorious?
Glorious, you can arguably call it. I think it's kind of whack. Personally, I never liked defending it when I was a player, and I don't really necessarily like attacking it either. But either way, I think the opening kill is going to have a huge factor on the possible outcome of this round in particular, because Library is a more movement-based and lethal kind of bomb site. It's not as strat-dependent as AVG or Trophy is, where there's multiple ways to deny the plant and whatnot, because there are so many different plant opportunities and plant spots on this particular bomb site with so much cover for the attackers once you get in. So having man advantage and having more guns than your opponent is a great way to ensure you have the highest odds in your favor. So the opening kill going to matter quite a lot here.
It's a calm before the storm, as we tend to see games tighten up and things get very close. Teams will be quite patient. Disciplined being the word. Rotero drone going towards Rampy, but he's not baited into it. Ness gets the first kill. It's on the skies. The second one looked lined up for Rampy, but this is an absolute clinic that Nesk was putting on, and now the rest of Liquid are doing the same. But Hot and Cold tears through Nesk, the best player in the lobby, sat down for the remainder of this round. Because it is living room library, clearing out study above is nice, but it is not as integral to the execute as it could be on other certain bomb sites. Liquid need to take the success that they have, the numbers advantage, by killing both Skies and Rampy, and then turning that towards a successful execute. Hot and Cold is still upstairs, by the way, off on his own before he just died. As I was saying his name, Ask killed him. That means that Fultz, who's off site, will have to get back on in. It's Bosco alone against the world in the middle of living room, and 4 players from Liquid will be hunting him down. Good news for Bosco. 30 seconds left. You've got decently good weaponry, and you've also got access to 3 toxic canisters. Logic Bomb comes in. It's the last one from Ask. Fultz and Bosco both very restless. They don't know where this is going to come from. They need to be primed and ready, no matter the position. 20 seconds. Liquid taking their time, hopping on in. They see him. Oh no! Fultz, you're looking the wrong way. Bosco with 1, but he walks right into Palu. And Liquid's attacks are terrifying, Nick. We're going overtime between these two teams, and Liquid's half, taking 4 rounds. 2 of them flawlessly. Diffuser planted. Opening picks in spades. What a triumphant 4 rounds they had in all those victories.
That they did indeed. The one thing though I will say is that SSG, they're familiar with this territory. They went 8-7 on Villa against FaZe last night. So if anything, this is just them repeating that same situation. I think the nerves and the pressure is still arguably on Team Liquid. They have not found themselves the back against the wall. That is 7-4, 7-4 victory against Rogue. That was on Oregon, and then it was on Kafe. So if anything, Team Liquid now to show that their OT gameplay is just as good as their regulation round gameplay. And some viewers at home might be thinking, but OT is the same thing, just at a higher number of rounds. It's 6-6 instead of 5-5. And that's true. Except that it's also not true at the same time. Because when you go into OT, it's much more do or die. And this is kind of where you gotta start changing things up, because you're only gonna get to OT if what you've been doing hasn't been working continuously. And look at this lineup from SSG right now. They're going back to kitchen. Remember, the pulse is off the board. The regular way of playing this bomb site is completely thrown out the window. So they bring out the Vigil and the Mossy with the mirror extension up above. Everyone is playing aggressive operators except for Fultz, who's on this shotgun and SMG 11. Bosco himself got the MP5 and Melusi, and SSG clearly wants blood, and they clearly want a map contest, seeing as their information game has been ruined by the specific target ban of Team Liquid.
Well, I mean, well-played bans for Liquid.
Yeah.
Banning the Thatcher is pretty standard stuff. The Twitch ban from SSG obviously trying to target Team Liquid, but guess what? That Twitch ban did not slow Liquid down whatsoever on attack. They brought a Jackal. They had Nesk playing on that 6 pick, whether he wanted to be on Amaru, whether he wanted to play on Yana, it doesn't matter. That's exactly the level of flexibility from Team Liquid, and Finka has been a staple as well. I especially like the Dokkaebi being brought by Liquid as the pocket pick on the previous map, or in the previous round. It's nice to see Dokkaebi played now and again. Maybe not always.
Not always, but every now and again,
every now and then
I'll
take
the flex operators, right? Just like Hot and Cold and SSG, they brought out the Monty for that 1 round, and sure enough, got C4'd by Paolo. It didn't really work whatsoever, but seeing the one-off strats that teams are bringing, just like Nesk brought out the Amaru, which didn't really do a whole lot of Amaru stuff, but he got 2 kills, that's cool. I love to watch it. As a caster, as a spectator, as a player, flexibility is my favorite thing, and niche picks is my favorite thing.
Niche picks is a good way of putting it. Amonte can be seen as a niche pick now as well, and I think Amaru or Amaru also fits that definition. So Finka used to be a niche pick, but she's become a staple of the meta. The drop in pick rate for Zofia has definitely imbued players with a sense of duty towards Finka. That said, the previous round was uncharacteristically slow. This one is shaping up to be the same, but things can change in the blink of an eye. Liquid did just that a couple rounds previously, where things were working out quite slow, very sluggish, and then everybody was dead, and Liquid had a flawless win within the span of 10 seconds.
Yeah, once these teams, they start going, it goes really, really fast. With so many players from SSG being up above, it just means that once one player falls, a second one can follow, or a second one can try and contest. Liquid, they haven't shown their true colors yet, because they haven't signified to us, or to themselves, or to SSG, how they exactly intend to attack right now. They're spread across the map, trying to find a way in. They started up top in study, now working their way below for pantry window, laundry door, Paolo down in the basement as well. So it seems to be a horizontal attack, ignoring the verticality of SSG, and it might pay out in their favor, but at the same time, it seems like SSG is so ready for this. Look at this as Paolo creeps up the staircase.
He'll see the Malusi. Bosco takes the fight to him, but Palu is so hard to beat. Bosco will be frustrated with that. Bosco struggling to buy a kill in this particular matchup. We'll see if his stats improve throughout overtime and into map number 2. Either way, Space Station trails, and Hot and Cold is the next one in the line of fire. 15 seconds left. You'd think there was plenty of time to go, but it doesn't favor Liquid at all. Despite that, they're still making it their own. Rampy's trying to catch them off guard on a flank. He capitalizes. 2 big kills for him. He needs to play keep away with resets down and vulnerable. He can't beat Nesk. Who can? And suddenly, Space Station on match point, but now in overtime, it's Liquid's matchup to lose. One more round to go for them to put this map away.
Rambi really looked like he might just steal the round away there from Liquid, but Nesk played the off angle, tucked in the laundry wall corner. It didn't get cleared and checked by Rambi, and it cost him his life, and therefore cost him the round. The flanker got flanked as Rambi made his way to the basement, and it was such a nice try. I was planning on the very last second there as well, and that 2:01 second left. Very, very close call for Liquid. They took every single second that they could afford, and just that. Then they started planting. Of course, the round went their way. Now we see the side swap come out as we are in the second round of OT. Liquid will now be on the defense, and Nesk will 6-pick from the mirror onto the Aruni. SSG yet to take a timeout, I believe, which means they might go the entire distance, or perhaps, and maybe they want to win this round, go 7-7, take the timeout, do some crazy shenanigans during that tactical timeout, and just hit the round swinging on that very final one. That is how they took out FaZe. Not with a timeout specifically, but that 8-7 scoreline.
Well, I don't know why they're not taking a timeout, and this is something that I think needs to be asked of them. Are they confident now on attack that SSG will prevail? This has been an attacker-sided Villa. I'd like to remind everybody right now of that fact. There have only been 4 rounds of the 13 rounds played thus far where the defense have won. That's 9 for the attackers.
That is something that we don't see very, very often. I was talking to Dev, actually, in the caster room, and we spoke about how maps like Kafe are extremely attacker-sided right now. But fun fact, if I don't remember incorrectly, Villa is the most... oh my god, I can't remember. Either way, Villa is like really heavily favored on one side, and normally it's defender-sided, but I feel like for some reason, right now in this meta, it's attacker-sided. I believe it was the same story yesterday in the FaZe SSG game, where attackers are just winning too many rounds compared to what you would think that they would.
Well, we'll see if this round plays out as slowly as the previous 2.
Seems to be the case.
Like I said, teams tighten things up when you are this close. When you are so close to being able to put a match away, the aggression doesn't tend to come out as frequently. Oh, this is a new one.
That is a new one indeed, yeah.
They're sepia colored.
Yeah.
This is very nice.
It kind of looks nice with the outlines, the blue and the red. Oh, we're back. Oh, no, there it is. We're back.
We're not back. This is still... There we go.
Oh, there it is. Nice.
All right. Well, very nice. It was almost like we were in an old detective movie, an old murder mystery. Yeah, you see, we were just trying to play some Rainbow Six. Oh God, what is happening now?
We're getting mute jammed. I mean, there is a jab on the board. It's Paolo. Paolo, what are you doing? Can you please stop, man?
I need you to knock that off. This is quite the trip.
Either way, the round commences. We continue on forward. Similar fashion from SSG, going for a horizontal attack, not really caring too much about the verticality up above. And they actually have more time to spare than Team Liquid did when they tried this exact same attack just the last round. So if Liquid could do it, so could SSG.
We're getting a nice overhead point of view now, as it appears that we are back in action, as we were deprived of the ability to see the action for but a moment. Nobody has died. Good thing that there hasn't been any action transpiring on your screen. Air jabs going off will prevent easy rotates, but Reset's playing the kill angles down below. If he wants to get back to the bomb site, he can just jump through that little area in the middle, back down towards Memorial. Grenades going off, and Nesk will patrol the area, looking to see what exactly is being done. Toxic canisters as well, blanketing some of the entrance into Memorial, preventing Space Station from getting in to get a plant down towards Kitchen. Skies is holding on to that diffuser, and he is exactly by the Memorial window. Yep. What will he do? 30 seconds to go. Calm before the storm. Match on the line for Space Station. They know how critical it is that they win their own map. They did it yesterday in 15 rounds against FaZe. They're looking to do the same, but what a shot that is to take out Hot and Cold. Resets falls next. Both teams trade one back and forth. Shotgun in hand for Ask. He drops Rampy. They walk right on in. A vault in now as Bosco picks up another kill. Fultz with one to his name, but the diffuser needs to go down. 5 seconds. The diffuser must get planted, but it's been surrendered by none other than Nesk, who picks up 2 enormous kills, and Liquid, by a score of 8-6, will take the map off of only the 5th defensive round victory. They snatch Space Station's map away from them and set themselves up to close the deal on Oregon, their map choice.